What's up, YouTube? I'm about to make another video on installing this S&B filter on my 2021 GMC AT4. This installation is going to be for the 3-liter inline 6 engine. They do make intakes for the other V8 gasoline engines, but those installations are a bit different. So again, this is going to be for the diesel engine, which everybody refers to as baby diesel. So I'm gonna do a few things. I'm gonna go ahead and just remote start it real quick so you guys can hear what it sounds like with the factory intake, so stand by. Now let's go inside the cabin. I'm gonna turn everything off. Now I'm gonna rev the engine. Again, you're just listening here at this point. I'm just gonna do it with the hood down. I know there's people that drive with it. I know there's people that open the hood, but let's be realistic. You wanna hear it with the hood down and in the cabin. So that's what we're gonna do. We're not driving with our hoods open. So that's why I'm doing this video with the hood down, because we want realistic sounds. So stand by for the installation. All right, before I get to installation, this is everything that was in the box. Quite a bit of pieces. You got some gaskets, you got the plexiglass, got the harnesses, big air box, some more gaskets and stuff. So there's quite a bit of pieces to the puzzle. Here is what the factory intake looks like. This will be removed. You can connect it halfway, but you're only gonna get half of the benefit. So if you're gonna do that, there's no point of installing one of these. You actually have to wrap around all the way to the turbo. I've been reading some threads that's a pain, but we'll get to it. I'll have step-by-step instructions, but this is here a before of what it looks like, and I'll upload the after. But again, this is just for the Duramax inline 6 baby diesel engine. So one last before. All right, the first thing you want to do is turn off your air filter notification. So you just scroll over on your menu options, scroll up and down till you see air filter life, select OK, disable, and now it's disabled. And you can turn off the vehicle. If you've been driving it, just let it sit down for a little bit and rest, because you don't want to burn your forearm or hand or anything. But if you're gung-ho about it, get after it. Let's go. All right, next what you want to do is get your 10 millimeter and go ahead and disconnect the battery terminal. All right, I have the terminal disconnected. There's really nowhere to put that wire. They're saying to have it disconnected for at least 2 hours. So I'm just gonna grab this microfiber towel and just set it in between there, just to ensure this doesn't slip and connect and get power for whatever reason. So just take proper precautions. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is remove the hood latch cover. You're gonna need T15, so let's go ahead and get that removed. Once you remove the 2 T15s, this just slides out like so. All right, next you're gonna remove these clips. There's 10 of them. I bought this little trim tool for about $8-9 on Amazon. So what you wanna do is you wanna get under this little lip here. Don't just go under here and start prying. Pull this pin up. Once you pull it up here, it's gonna look like this. And then you can get a little pry tool under here and then just lift it up out. I'm just gonna grab it because it's not too hard, like that. You can break it, so you pop this first and then pull it from here. I know it's easier said than done, but there's 10 of them. And once I remove all 10, I'll show you the next step. All right, I got all 10 off. I'm gonna put everything in this box here that it came with just so I don't lose anything. So again, you're gonna have 10 clips all throughout this plastic trim. Once you remove all 10, you could just lift this out. I'm trying to do it with one hand, so bear with me. Just like so. So this is what it's gonna look like after you remove those clips. And I'm just gonna store this in the box too. All right, next what you're gonna do is remove this support brace here, 13 millimeter. So I'm gonna remove that real quick. There it is, it's removed. Again, there's the brace and then there's the 2 bolts. Let's put it in the box. All right, the next step is to remove this clip. It's similar to the other 10, but keep it separate. This is unique and you need to be able to identify this clip. So remove this and put it to the side. There it is, it's removed. Just keep that separate. All right, next step's gonna be to remove the radiator support brace, 2 13 millimeters. Same thing, let's remove that real quick. All right, I removed them. You just need more clearance here, so this isn't gonna be actually coming out, but you'll have some wiggle room there. So we're not disconnecting this, just undo the bolts, and then we're gonna remove the coolant overflow. It's a 10 millimeter, so let me remove that real quick. All right, that's removed. Next, we need to remove the fuse box holder here. So let's just go ahead and remove this 10 millimeter as well. All right, it's removed. They're just saying to just push it as far away as possible while you're working. So I'm just gonna probably pull this out a little more and just like this, you're gonna have some wiggle room for more clearance for the big intake there. So that's off. Let's go to the next step. All right, next I'm gonna remove the wire harness and then the sensor here plug. So I'm gonna just unplug these real quick, so just stand by on that. All right, I got it off. You don't have to disconnect it. There's just like a little latch that it's on right here. So again, you're just trying to get this off of that. You don't have to unplug anything. So now you got more space. Now on to removing this. All right, it's out. We'll just pull out this little red lever here and then push down here and pull out. All right, there's a couple clips you have to remove to loosen up the harness. So there's one right here. You can see it barely underneath there. And there's another one, it's hard to see, right there. So you'll see it, it's connected to it, so you wanna pull those off. All right, so I got it off. Here's that one I was talking about. It's a gray one. Move this coolant reservoir out the way a little bit, and this one was a little bit difficult, but get to it. It's right there. That one right there. All right, next what you're gonna do is loosen these clamps, 7 millimeter or flathead. That one right here, 7 millimeter flathead. Just loosen and loosen it. Remove this. All right, it's removed. Again, just loosen these two here. Took a little wiggling to get out, but it's a little bit aggressive, so just squeeze down and just wiggle it. Again, that's the only thing that's holding it down. So now you have this removed. On to the next. All right, next you're gonna need a 10 millimeter to remove that bolt that's holding down the stock box. So again, 10 millimeter right there. There it is. Don't lose it, you're gonna need it later. All right, everything's disconnected. Now you gotta remove this. So I'm gonna get on a little step stool here. Just try to apply much force. It looks loose and ready to go. So I'll update you as I get this out. All right, quick update. Getting this over this harness first is gonna be a lot easier because you have to kind of tilt it and pull out, because there's some rubber notches there that this slides into, I guess, the frame to keep it from moving. So tilt and then lift it out. All right, so I got it out. Here it is. That was a pain in the ass, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so it's like this. These two notches are in the frame. You have to get those out. There's rubber plugs that make it a lot harder. This, you have to get over the harnesses. And up here in the front, this was hitting the harness as well. It's out. The only advice I could give, try to go at an angle like that and out, but there's really no room. I was hitting here, I was hitting here. You got to work around these harnesses, so just take your time. It's a lot of back and forth wiggle room. I said you do have some play here. This wasn't even factored in. I toggled this out the way. This was a little bit in the way, but like I said, you have room. It's not like it's stuck here, so you can move that. But best advice I could give is just take your time, have patience. But it was frustrating. I'm not gonna lie, it was a pain. But get that box out. Let's go to the next step. All right, so this is where I'm at again. Everything's removed. So if you want to stop here and tie in here, then you can do that. I'm going to the turbo. That's where you're gonna get the max benefits of this system. So let's get on to the next steps. All right, next what we have to do is remove the oil cap, and then there's a 10mm screw right there to remove this plastic cover. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. All right, cover's off. 10mm, you can just leave it in there. Just go ahead and put the oil cap back on. Don't want any gunk getting in there, so just remember to remove that before we put this back on. But it's off. Let's put this to the side. On to the next. All right, next we need to remove the coolant reservoir. Again, it's just a 10mm here, so I'm gonna remove this, pull this out, and just set it right here to give us more room to remove the tube to the turbo. So let's do that. All right, coolant reservoir is removed. Again, it was just that one bolt. Came off of here, and I'm just setting it down where the factory intake was. Not disconnecting any hoses, you just want more room. This does move around, so now we got to remove this piece to the turbo. So let's get to that step. It's a 7mm, so get your 7mm ready. All right, so there's the tube. You follow it all the way behind the turbo. It's still a little warm, but I'll be all right. So you're gonna see two of these little clamps on there. You're gonna want to get the one closest to the turbo. There's another one here, so you need to remove it from the turbo itself. So again, 7mm, it's a little bit restricted, so patience is a virtue, right? So let's just go ahead and remove that, and I'll get back with you shortly. All right, this side is gonna do wonders. 7mm, it's right there. So if you get it in at an angle, you'll have enough room. It's gonna take a lot of baby turns, but it's enough to loosen. So again, the one closest to the engine, not the back one. Let's get on to the next step. All right, I loosened it. It's off the turbo. Then you gotta pretty much wiggle it back and forth. You see the whole tube moving. You just gotta wiggle it out. That's what I'm gonna do. It's hard to do it one hand, or else I would record it for you guys, but you guys get the idea. Gotta love these GM engineers. They should make these guys do this before they could approve a design and see if they wanna add a little bit more room back there for us. So stand by, let's get to the next step. All right, y'all, I got it out. Wasn't too bad. You can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. It's just, you're prying at it this way, and you're wiggling it, so you're gonna pretty much do reverse movements to kind of get it off that turbo, and then just wiggle its way out through the back of the engine. So let's get on to the next. All right, now we gotta mount this bracket to the intake tube. Same design. So again, just picture it going behind the motor to the turbo, looking at it from the back view, and then you're gonna go ahead and mount this bracket here. And I'll show you what that looks like once I get it on. You're gonna need a hex for that. All right, I got it on there. I put these two on. There's this little rubber gasket that came with the kit you want to put on as well. It doesn't look like it's gonna fit, but it's just easy once you start prying it in there and just like use either your fingernail or like a flathead screwdriver to get that in. So let's go to the next step. But there it is, she's on. All right, now you're gonna want to put these two clamps onto this little adapter that we're gonna put onto the tube. The thicker side is going to be onto this end, and then this is going to go in the turbo. When putting these on, just keep in mind that once you get this on the turbo, we're going to have to get back there and tighten this. So make sure it's facing the right side. So as if you're looking at it, it's going to be the left side. So just remember that as when you're tightening this. I'm going to put this on here, tighten this one all the way down, and then hand tighten this one just so I have some wiggle room to get it onto the turbo. But this one needs to be all the way tight. So let's get it on there. All right, I got it up here. I'm about to start the reach around. But before I do that, I just want to show you one thing. So this right here that we installed has to be seated in a slot back there. There's a spot for it. So if you zoom in right there, you have to make sure it goes on that, or else it's not going to be seated correctly. So just remember that when you're connecting it to the turbo. But let me get that on and I'll let you know if there's any tips or tricks or anything crazy to it, so stand by. All right, I got it in there. You can see it's all the way on the turbo. FYI, that's an 8. The one we removed is a 7. I'm not sure why S&B swapped it up like that. That's an 8. It was tough, not gonna lie. Getting that little bracket on that little notch I was showing you, do that first. Get it in position, do that first. And then when you get to here, you'll have a little bit of room to kind of get it onto the turbo. The best tip and advice, hurt like hell, but get your hand behind underneath the intake tube and wiggle it this way. You can't get your hand this way. It's gonna be too hard to wiggle it this way. You can't grab it with your nails, pull it this way. Get underneath the intake tube and pull it in, and it went on just like that. Tighten that with the 8, and let's get on to the next steps. All right, next step is just putting the coolant reservoir back in place. So let's get that taken care of, and we'll get to the next steps. Back in place, again, you just put it in here, these slide in, and then don't forget your 10mm bolt right there. Everything's back. Let's go to the next step. All right, now we're gonna install this seal to the air box. The filter was already in there. It had a piece of plastic on it to cover it, pre-oiled. I'm not gonna remove it. It looks like they did a little bit of work for me, so I'm just gonna hopefully do the installation without having to remove that. But if I have to, I'll update you. But again, we're just gonna put the rubber seal here and move on to the next step. Got the seal on there. Next, we're gonna install the wire harness bracket. There's only one way to do it. They kind of dummy proofed it for us, so it can only go on one way. So install it like so. All right, next we're gonna put the bracket on like this. Before we do that, we're gonna put this little rubber gasket inside here, and then this metal piece inside of that gasket. But and then go ahead and bolt it onto the air box. But I'll show you what I mean by that. Let me get it on there. All right, got it on there. Again, that little rubber gasket goes in there, and then that little metal piece goes inside there, just like that. Next is put this cover on if you want. It's optional. I know diesels love that cold air, but I did read some threads. If you live in a city with a lot of bugs, they recommend putting this on because this will get really dirty really fast. I live in Houston, so I'm gonna just go ahead and cover it. I'm hoping that I still get what I'm looking for. If not, you can always remove it. Maybe just remove it during the winter months and then plugging it up during the summer months. I don't know, but for this video, I'm gonna go ahead and seal it. So stand by. There it is, all sealed up. It was really easy to do. It's probably gonna be real easy to just remove and install whenever you need to. But again, for this video, I want it on, but it's up to you. So let's get to the next step. All right, next step, you're gonna go ahead and put these little rubber plugs on the base of the intake. So let me just do that, just like so. Pretty easy. All right, so those two rubber plugs we put on, just remember they have to go back into their hole. So that's what's gonna pretty much keep this thing in place. So it was a pain to remove it. I'm hoping it's a little bit easier to kind of get it in there. So just stand by for that. All right, before I seat it, so this rubber gasket we put on is gonna have to go back into where it pulls the air from in front of the hood. And then again, these gaskets have to go back in here. So just wanted to update you on that. Just don't focus on this. You have to kind of wiggle it back in around the harnesses and kind of just get it back into position. So let's get after it. All right, I got it in there. It was definitely as hard as taking it out. Get the rubber gaskets in there. I haven't bolted anything down yet, but the best advice is have somebody pull like this coolant reservoir back, this harness here, the fuse box. Just get as much room as you can. There is no room for error here. It is really difficult to try to get that in there. I got it. Next is I'm gonna be putting back the fuse box bolt. So I'll just start going in reverse order and show you what I'm doing, but that's in there. All right, once you get everything in, you get your 10 millimeter, you're gonna need an extension, and you're gonna go ahead and put it in this this hole right here, and you're gonna bolt this back down so it's nice and sturdy like so. So make sure you get that in there. You will need an extension. All right, get the fuse box back bolted to the frame. So what you're gonna do next is there's a little clip in the back here that there's a hole that you can slide in to clip it into place. So just be sure that you you do that, and just be mindful that there's a wire here and there's a space right here. So just make sure that you lift that wire before you bolt it so you don't pinch it behind the fuse box. And they said on this 10 millimeter not to tighten it all the way down. Let's keep it loose because we still have to put this piece back into that. But what's gonna be next is we gotta bolt this back on right here. So let's just swivel this over and we'll get it back up. Let me just get two hands on it. All right, got it on there. Bolt that back on. Again, let's keep this a little loose, and I gotta get the inlet into the box. So that's gonna be a little fun, a little bit more wiggle back and forth. Let me see if I can get a good view on it right there. So let me shake this end. You can see it right there. So you just gotta work that into this part right here. So that's what I'm gonna do next. Stand by for next instructions. All right, I got it in there. Best advice is just wiggle it from this side with your left hand, and then just reach in and guide it on this side. It was pretty easy to do. So what you can do next is, remember that clip I told you that's pretty similar but different at the same time? We're gonna go ahead and reinstall that. It's just, all right, let me get to two hands on it, 1 second. All right, got two hands on it. That's in there, so it's not going anywhere. Nice and secure. Let's get to the next steps. All right, now we're gonna put this large harness onto the bracket that we installed. So let's see if I can do it with one hand. If not, I'm gonna have to get back to you. I think I got it, there we go. Not bad for a lefty. All right, what's gonna happen next is, remember we removed these rivets. There's a few of them. It's hard to see the hole. Let me see if I could find one. There's two holes. Look, there's one right there. It's kind of hard to see, but there's two holes in the box where you can kind of put these back in to put them into place. So just install these back to the air box. All right, then you're gonna put the coolant reservoir back. There's two notches right here that you could they have a little slot for it, and then just tighten that up, just like that. On to the next. All right, what you're gonna do next is put this support brace back in, 13 millimeter, just like so. And then we're gonna put the plastic cover back on and put those 10 rivets in. So I'll show you once I get the cover on, how you put those back in is pretty easy. If you gotten this far, I'm sure you got it taken care of, but let me show you what it looked like. So let's put this cover back on real quick. All right, cover's on. Again, make sure that they're pulled out, and then you're just gonna go ahead and insert it like this, and then just push it down just like so. Get all 10 in, and we'll get back to the video. So all 10 of these, get them back in. A little useful tip, you have this little indent here to kind of pry this spot open without damaging your clip. Just make sure when you install it, just face it towards the way you're gonna be prying out. I know it's common sense, but hey, why not just throw it in the video so that way it's easier to pop out versus having this on this end and trying to work your way around, you know? So work smarter, not harder. All right, after you get all 10 in, you're gonna reinstall the hood latch. You just slide this in, and then with your T15, just go ahead and tighten that up. And after that, let's get on to the next thing. All right, then you're gonna install your clamps on the coupler here. Just keep in mind on your preference on tightening and removing it, and then we're gonna put this onto the intake tube right here. So let me get that on and get to the next steps. All right, got it on. Only tighten the back. Then we're gonna have to get one of these zip ties that was included and just do a little loop on there. And then there's a spot for this. Just face it up so that we can clip the access on the back side of the box. It's hard to get it on camera, but if you put your hand down here, you could fill the hole and then just insert it that way for the harness. So let's get to the next steps. All right, now we're gonna remove the mass airflow sensor. It's T20, and then we're gonna install it onto this piece here. Everything is included. We got new bolts. I'd recommend just using these just so you don't double thread or anything like that. So let me remove this and put it onto here. All right, so there's like a little, that white gasket was there already from the original. Leave that on. Put this little foam gasket on, and then there's like a little rubber gasket. It's pretty much like a spacer to ensure that it fits correctly onto the new device. So again, just ensure that you put these on. It's a little tricky just figuring out which way it goes, but once you get an idea, it's pretty simple. Make sure everything lines up, and let me get it onto the new tube. All right, got it on there just like so. So it's gonna look like that, nice and sealed up. Then you're gonna put this onto the tube that's going to the turbo, and then this one onto the filter where the air box is. So let me get that on, and then you're gonna tighten the clamps on both sides. So I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. All right, got it on there. Remember, this is 8mm. They switched it, it's not 7. Nice, snug, fits good. Got this on here as well. If you can't get an 8mm on here, just use a flathead and then just loosen it if it's not going on all the way, to kind of wiggle it in there, tighten it up. And now what we're gonna do is connect the harness to the sensor, run it underneath the tube through that zip tie that we added, and then we're gonna plug it into the harness up here. So let me get that wired up, and I'll show you what I mean by that. All right, I ran the wire, plugged it in, went underneath the tube, through that zip tie, pulled that zip tie, clipped the zip tie, and then they included extra zip ties. I zip tied the sensor to this other wiring harness here to keep it out the way. It's sturdy, it's not gonna be moving around. It's like a nice clean factory install, so I like that. Let's get on to the next thing. All right, now you're gonna install the engine cover. Just remember to remove the oil cap and then put it on. There's 2 little hooks up here. You just hook it up like that and then drop it down. Put this on, and don't forget about your 10mm. Hand tighten that. Nice and sturdy, let's get going. All right, now you're gonna get this grommet and put it into this hole right here. So let's close that up. That's the access point where we had to get to that bolt to keep this mounted. So let me just work this in, and I'll get back to you. All right, got it in there, it's flush. Next, you're going to put, peel this off to get that plexiglass, put it around the gasket, and then put the gasket on top of the intake. All right, I got it on there. It's weird, just go in at this angle, and then if your hand fits, kind of just grab the back side of that plastic lip and just kind of get it over the other lip. But eventually it'll fall into place, you'll feel it. So once you get it on, just you get some Windex or just a damp cloth and get those paw prints off of there. And that is it. I just got to install the battery, which I'm going to do off camera, but this is what it looks like. I like it. Nice, clean, factory look. Everything is nice and tight. I'm loving it. I'm hoping it sounds as good as it looks. Again, I'm just trying to get all angles of everything. All the way back there to the turbo. It's looking good, so let's get the sound test up, and we'll wrap this video up. All right, here's the test. Let's see if we hear a difference. I'll stay quiet. I'll go inside the cab and do the same test. I hear it. I hear the difference. I might take off that extra piece and see how it sounds with that, but I'll update you guys when I'm driving it if I notice any difference, so just stand by on that. But if you like this video, if it was helpful, just please like, ask the questions, and I'll be more than happy to help. Thanks. Talk to you guys soon. Bye. All right, guys, I'm back. You're not done with me yet. So I took it out. You don't have to remove too much. You could either take this top piece off or fit your hand in here and just pull it out through here. So now let's see if we hear it a little bit louder. It's gonna get more air. I think a lot of people do put it like this with this removed to get that meaner Darth Vader sound, but let's see how it sounds with it removed. Same test. Let me just close the hatch. Oh shit, hold on. All right, let's start again. Turn everything off and we do the same test. 2,000 RPMs. All right, that's it. You guys be the judge. Make your decision. I'm probably gonna leave it off since it's off, and I'll keep you guys updated in regards to if I'm seeing an increase in mileage or horsepower or anything like that. So just look forward for future videos. And again, thanks for watching. Hope this helped. Thanks.